Hi everyone, this is our first of many Meet the Makers, and today we have Amélie Du Passage. She's the founder, owner of Petite Friture, a leading French design company. And it's a great opportunity for us to witness and hear some of the exciting news and also a little bit about Amélie as well, find out about what she likes and the things that inspire her. Voila.
Voila.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Very well, thank you. Welcome. I don't know if you remember, we met, I think it was in Paris, and this was about 2 years ago. There were some really beautiful designs. It was some illustrations. It was like a skier, you know? And I don't know if you remember, I said to you, you should make this into some wallpaper. It looked great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was illustrations from a girl who lives in Marseille, who's called Lisa Lobreau. And it was, you're right, I think it was 2018 that we asked her to step in with a collaboration, with a creative collaboration.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a good memory.
I'd just like to say welcome to this first ever Meet the Makers. This is something really exciting for us at Do South. And I kind of feel that we got a bit of an exclusive. And I know that you've had some interviews already this year because you've had some exciting things already. You've got the 10th anniversary, the 10th birthday. You've launched a very exciting new addition to the Vertigo family as well, which is fantastic. And we're so excited to receive that ourselves here at Do South. But this is a great opportunity, I think, where we've created a new platform for our partners and for our audience to kind of see what we do behind the scenes and get to, you know, meet some of the people that are the influencers of the design realm. So with that said, I'd like to ask you a few questions. So the first question I'd like to ask you is, what advice would you give to aspiring creatives?
What advice? I think to be both very creative and very true in what they do. So to know who they are, stand for it, and emphasize it, if I could say. I think we are in these times where we need a lot of transparency, a lot of also meaning in what we're doing. But it's true for designers, it's true for creatives on a larger scale, but also maybe for businesses, of course. And I think by following that line, you create real meetings with people, and you push projects that have a greater value in time as well, that lasts, to be short. So yeah.
Thank you for that answer. So with that said, how does the environment then influence you, you know, with your work?
The environment, are you speaking on a sustainable point of view? Absolutely. Yeah. It's really something that is very important for us, and it's a real challenge because we are also a small company, which means that we are of course challenged on the positioning of what we do on the business point of view, price point of view, and at the same time are willing to be respectful of the environment. I'd say that the first thing that we do, and that we've been doing from the beginning, is that we very much believe in durability, the fact that the products last, so they are made with quality, that we pay attention to the construction, to the materials, to the finishing, so that the product can last, and give certifications and guarantees for this. So I think that's one way of answering things. The other way is also trying to select pieces that we feel on the long run will still be there, still be in our catalogue. And then we are also careful in the construction by optimizing as much as we can. Like, for example, our sourcing, all our manufacturers are, nearly 100% of our manufacturers are based in Europe, which is close to our main activity. And of course, as long as we, in the future, when we would develop to other continents, I think this is something that we need to make evolve. So we work with close partners regarding manufacturing that themselves are involved in this topic. So there are many ways in which we can progress, but I think we've identified where we stand and what we're targeting to do and improve in the years to come.
What sort of areas of the world would you like to be in, and that you're not haven't yet reached in terms of the market?
So we're in Europe, we're in the United States. It's a market that's been open for a few years now with us, and in Asia, but only in a little number of spots. I think our idea is to, of course, develop internationally, and it really makes sense, but really with the top retailers with whom we have strong partnerships. I think our idea is more to be, I don't like the word selective, but more having strong partnerships than being seen everywhere. And also because this is the way we build our products and our manufacturing. So mass production is not so much our question.
Yes, and you touched on a very important part in terms of your answer about partnership as well, because we at Do South have been flying the flag for many of the partners that we represent. Some small partners, in terms of size, and some of the larger ones as well. But of course, our main sort of ethos is about design and quality. And just as much as your company is very selective on the partners that you want to connect with, equally that's been our mantra as well. And we've been on this journey like you for nearly just over 10 years. When I started Do South, it was an old news agent. No one wanted to see it, use it, utilize it. And then I came along and hello, a bit of magic, bit of sprinkle of magic dust on the top. And here we are 10 years later. What I'd like to ask you is, where do you see the future now with the technology, with the digital age and this interaction that's so now almost obvious that we're all kind of now settling in to our comfy homes and looking at the things that we need to buy online? How do you see the future working?
It's a tricky question because, of course, it's a question that we could answer on a design point of view, on a manufacturing point of view, on the way of selling, and also in the functionality of our products as well. So everything can be in some way influenced by the technology. And in some way we are, because if we're speaking of the design point of view, of course, designers are progressively integrating in their design all the needs that the consumers themselves are willing. So, for example, the LED technology today, 5 years ago, was not so integrated. Now it's just automatic, I'd say. So, and many other, we need to take other shifts as well when they come. And it's also true on the retail point of view, because we see at this challenging time. And of course, we also feel that we absolutely need to see the products and experience them before we buy them. So it's also the limit of digital. And so this is all puzzling, and it can be seen as threats, but it's also, I think, a very interesting topic. As you said, Do South, you make a kind of curation with the brands that you're working with, and in some way you're building a partnership, and sometimes exclusivity, and sometimes this kind of discussion and content and so on. So this is where each actor needs to question itself, and starting by us, of course, to know how we want to work with each and the right value. So technology makes us change with the functionality, but also in the way we interact, bringing a lot of digital, but also bringing a lot of meaning in why we're doing things and with whom.
Absolutely. Well, couldn't agree more than what you just said. Now, a different question. I want to ask you, how do you spend your Sundays?
I spend my Sundays with my kids and my husband globally. I'm now living in London, which is really new. And I'm sort of, discovering London is not really the case because, of course, we're quite limited in these times. But as it is today, just enjoying where I'm living and being able to go in parks and being in nature. I think that's one of the things that I now really need more than 10 years ago, especially with a week that's very active and very open in discussions with loads of people. I think weekend is about intimacy, family, close friends, and private.
So what inspires you as well? Because I know you're very passionate about this in your work.
Yeah. Oh, many. I think people inspire me. Meeting people. I'm always surprised. Sometimes you have so much to do that you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to skip that appointment because I don't have time for that right now, and I'm not going to be able to really take the outmost of it. And then I just decide, well, no, now it's on my agenda and I can't exactly cancel and let people down. So I go and just find out that it was worth it because it took me somewhere I didn't know, brought new ideas. So people, I think, mainly. But of course, people, it can be meetings, it can be books, it can be listening to actuality, not trying to focus on the bad stuff, but on the positive stuff. Meeting also, especially people who are building building companies or running businesses. I think I'm very interested in that, small businesses. I just feel that there is this action coming up from small businesses in the kind of conversation we're having.
Thank you for that answer. What's your biggest tip for sourcing materials?
Probably, well, traveling, meeting, going to exhibitions done by schools, or I'd like to say, like, where they're able to stage in a very interesting way. I was going to say trends, but I don't like that word. But I think matters that are important for today, and bringing material solutions. So it happens a lot in schools or through young designers, I'd say, who tend to investigate a lot. And it's really interesting. What is often lacking, but it makes it even more interesting, is that there is sometimes very good ideas, but no solution to it to have it really developed on a more industrial basis, or at least in some kind of series. So this is where we come up and could maybe help and bring it a bit further, but the ideas come from them a lot. And of course, there are other ways. Sometimes it can come from the industry itself, when the people are willing to get out of their core business in some way and bring transversality towards other sectors. But it's true, the designers and the creatives go and challenge that a lot and bring the ideas.
Yes. And, with all the challenges that you've had to face, this is another challenging question. Out of your amazing collection, which is your favorite design?
I'm not able to answer, and because I don't think that some are more strict and more graphic, and some are more emotional, poetical. And I think my heart is kind of in between. So having a Francis mirror that is quite poetical, besides a grid sofa that's more straight. I think what's nice is also the dialogue that it creates.
I agree. I think it's a little bit like music. Sometimes, you have different music songs to take your emotions in a different way, and it's just how you're feeling at that moment in time. But no disregard to anything less. They're all the same. They all have a connectivity with that. So thank you for that answer. What's the other one I wanted to ask you about? Your influence. How do you see, let's take the thing of light, because light is a very important part of our everyday experience. How do you feel light can help influence the way we live in modern society?
Well, it's a funny question, because I think we've evolved inside Petite Friture with this topic. I think probably we more focused to start with on how a light could decorate or could sign or create a space for itself. I think, of course, Vertigo is a perfect example, with this big lamp creating a kind of, a space for itself inside a room. Of course, it was a light, but I don't think the light was so much the topic at the time in some way, in the way we developed it. Today, I think with a bit more maturity, and also it's more balanced. I think we still remain with this will to have pieces that stand out. And I think this is what Petite Friture brings to the market. So we're not a specialist in lighting, and we are not here to bring all the solutions you need inside your home, but more, a statement piece. But now with a real care about the lighting, the efficiency of the lighting, which is also, of course, important when you buy a light. But in regards of this, I must say I'm quite surprised of the success that we have had up to now with products that were more decorative than really lighting systems.
Yes, and this new lighting system that you're bringing in, already out there in the marketplace, with the Vertigo Nova. What do you expect that light to change in terms of, with your influence, in terms of the industry that you're obviously shaping up and bringing a beautiful aesthetic into people's homes or businesses? What do you think now that's going to be the challenge for your design team to then take it to the next step, the next level? Because you're pushing the boundaries all the time.
I think the step that we've taken now is to be, in some way, because we're a growing company and we remain quite small, but are aiming to be a bit bigger, not too big, in fact. And that's part of the answer to your question, is that we want to remain focused on who we are and how we develop the business. And it's important. keep close relationship with the designers and all the partners that we work with. So that's very important and will guide the future. It's always been there, and now in this step, we have decided that we would lose this. And this also maybe puts an ambition that is slightly different. We could have an ambition of being a worldwide actor, huge, and we know in our sector that some companies have developed absolutely fine in that way. I think I see a success story for Petite Friture on a more lower level in regards of numbers and even number of people working for us, but having really close relationships and going on to pricing in the products that we are releasing, really statement products. And also I'd like to say that we are pushing the details a bit further as well in regards of durability that I was speaking of, sustainability. For me, it's really a question of how long these products last. And so bringing them in one way to maybe a slightly higher end. And I think this is what Vertigo Nova and also Unseen, which is the collection that we have released with Studio Pepe, is about. It's this kind of statement we're making, a bit less and being accurate in what we do.
So you've been absolutely wonderful, sharing us your insight and allowing us to create this new doorway. As I said, this is an exciting time for Do South. We've utilised the time to reinvent ourselves in a lovely way. We've got a new website, which you will be obviously a part of. This will be a first interview.
Looking forward to it.
What you'll be seeing, and there'll be me on there as well.
Great.
I've made a very personal way of creating this new way of sharing the design world, what I do and the things that I like to influence. And I'm really excited about that.
And I think it's very important that you do that, because it also gives a clear direction of what you're doing. And I think being personal is important. I mean, you are doing it in a personal way, so it's important to communicate it as well.
Absolutely, it is important, and I'm happy to share with our audience the influences that we really appreciate that are part of the Do South family. So on the passing note, I would like to say I wish you all the success and continued success with Petite Friture. And you're living in London. Happy for you to come and visit us here someday.
I will do as soon as I'm allowed to. You can count on me.
Feel a bit normal again, but we so much look forward to seeing you here. And of course,
I will.
We'll be looking forward to sharing the celebrational news of the Nova when it's here at Do South to all our audience. So thank you again.
Well, thank you.
It's been a real
good luck.
And thanks so much, and all the best, and look forward to seeing you, speaking to you again sometime in the future.
Normally close future, we all believe in it, so you can count on me. I'll come and say hello, and thanks very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much.